But now, let's find out. Is Ice Spice cooked, chopped?
They're marketing her like this for a very specific reason. Her body is more popular than her music. I just don't understand how people don't see it.
Best new hip-hop artist, Ice Spice.
How long can they keep on shoving her down our throats?
I ain't gonna lie to you, the best part of when she performs is the twerk.
Shut up, academics.
But people are waking up and it looks like the fall off is approaching.
Like I was saying earlier, I do feel like Ice Spice is falling off, because literally, like, two things. As soon as she lost weight, because she slimmed down a little bit. Ice Spice, look, literally weight loss is like the second one that comes up after no makeup, which is outrageous. Ozempic rumors. Like, look, literally, when she did her weight loss and she lost that mass, like, let's be honest, when she lost that, and then when she started dating Central C, that's when, like, the fall off started to kind of happen. And then her album dropped and nobody took it serious because she was spitting so many poopy bars.
Now, Ice Spice, a name most people recognize. She's one of the most well-known young female rappers in the industry. Blew up over 2 years ago with the song Munch, which ended up catching a lot of people's attention during
That was 2 years ago? Oh my God, bro.
that time. A lot of that attention came in terms of love, hate, intrigue, and everything in between. That aside, one thing's for sure, she managed to capitalize on that wave and eventually kept on rising and rising. It seems like that rise has came to an end, however. Ice Spice's recent album sales being a sign of that. Isis Gaston, professionally known as Ice Spice.
Oh, what? Her name is Isis? What? What? Wait a minute. Who is the parent that said this baby shall be named Isis? Like, what are we talking about? Okay, let me stop.
Ice is a 24-year-old rapper born on January 1st, 2000 out of the Bronx, New York. She attended Sacred Heart High School in Yonkers, and after graduating in 2018, enrolled at the State University of New York at Purchase, where she studied communications and at the same time balanced playing volleyball. Ice Spice started making music while in college and stated that she always had a passion for it, and that's how she dabbled in it. Despite the time she spent making a lot of progress playing volleyball, along with her studies, she eventually made the decision to drop out around her sophomore year. That led to her shouldering the responsibility of being the eldest sister of 5, working a wide range of jobs, including at Wendy's and The Gap. During her studies, she ended up meeting Ephraim Louis Lopez Jr., mostly known as Riot, a well-known producer behind the majority of her records. Ice Spice and Riot built...
Do they have similar hair on purpose, or was that just a freaky coincidence? Because this is kind of... No, I guess they just so happen to have similar hair. That is kind of freaky deaky, bro.
A very close, tight-knit relationship, which later on transitioned
Like
into a
Bad
producer
Bunny.
and artist collaboration, a relationship that became a key component in her success and blow-up. Because not only was Ephraim a very talented and ambitious producer, he also had a lot of prior ties to the music industry, something that Ice Spice benefited from. The ties to the industry he had was through his father, DJ Enough, a DJ and radio personality born in Brooklyn, New York, who's been working at hip-hop radio station Hot 97 since 1998.
See, it's crazy because, like, what a lot of people don't realize about the industry is that sometimes it's really just you gotta know a guy who knows a guy. Like, imagine if Ice Spice never would have met Zach. Or imagine if Zach's dad didn't just so happen to be a popular DJ. You know what I mean? Like, literally, that's why you gotta really keep trying at your goals and stuff, because you don't know, because there's always gonna be some form of luck to it. You just gotta stay consistent and get some content out there, because you never know who's gonna be the person to eventually stumble across it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. You just so happen to meet the son of a famous DJ and who's also a producer.
The encounter with Riot later on led to Ice Spice releasing her debut song, Bully Freestyle, in March 2021. The song gained attention after a video of Ice Spice participating in a challenge called the Bust It Challenge went viral on Twitter. Sometime later after that, she dropped the song Name of Love.
I think I seen that. I'm not a gooner.
Which also gained attention, but this time on SoundCloud. On August 10, 2022, Ice Spice released her song Munch, distributed by Worldstar Hip Hop. The song quickly gained traction on social media, and Ice Spice was officially on the trajectory of blowing up, and that's exactly what eventually ended up happening. Ice Spice, in a span of a few weeks, became one of the most talked.
Yeah, bro, I love Patrick CC, but I grew up watching Blackie Speaks
about new artists, all because of one song, but more specifically, one line from the song.
You thought I was feeling you?
That nigga Munch.
Millions of people use the sound bit in their TikTok videos, and she was getting posted all over the blogs. On top of that, her streams were going through the roof, and all around, she was receiving a lot of attention all at once. Even Drake co-signed her by sending her a DM on Instagram.
Shut up, Cruz.
Which she posted online as promo for herself. On September 2022,
That's so crazy. Like, literally, bro, it's literally just all about, sometimes it's really all about connections. Like, for real. Like, for real, bro. You bumped into somebody at college, and then the next year you're chilling with Drake. Like, that's outrageous. That's insane to me.
Around a month after her initial blow up, Ice Spice signed a record deal with 10K Projects, which was under a bigger major label, Capitol Records. In the months following, Ice Spice capitalized on her relevancy, as she was now backed up by the industry machine. At this point, she was really starting to take off. The hype on social media had built her up to a level where she had all the attention on her. However, since she climbed so fast in the industry, Ice Spice was still a very much unknown face to the world.
Everybody thought that Ice Spice was going to be a one-hit wonder, and I was part of that crowd. Like, because you got to think, all throughout 2016 and 2017, there were so many one-hit wonders. Like, people who would have a song that goes viral, and they could never even so much as get even to half as popular as that one viral song. But for some reason, and we have our suspicions, for some reason, Ice Spice was able to capitalize off of it. She went almost on a generational run, bro. Like, she dropped the Munch, and then she dropped that one song with the bikini bottom beat. I've watched a video about Schoolboy 9. I am not watching that. That dude was creepy. No, bro. No. Schoolboy 9 is creepy, bro. I be watching Nick Crowley. I be watching Nexpo. I be watching deep dives all the time, Cruz, for real. I need to watch one on stream. I'm gonna find a deep dive I haven't watched yet, and we can watch it on the stream, bro, for real. But yeah, Ice Spice was crazy. Like, she went on a generational run. She went from being a one-hit wonder to being just a wonder. Like, what? Like, despite everything everybody was saying.
Here we had this attractive, racially ambiguous looking light-skinned woman who essentially blew up overnight in the music industry. So she had a big name, but who was the person behind the music? This is when streamer and YouTuber Kai Cenat comes into play, because Ice Spice ended up doing an hour-long stream with Kai Cenat.
In the hook I said, literally in the hook I said, you did me dirt, cause what did I do? Like...
Yo, those are nice. Hold on one second.
Candace, what's up? I think my daughter's going pro in basketball.
I'll take those.
Wait, you're at Dick's?
Could you pick up You're at Dick's?
People could suddenly now put a personality to the face, which is an important part of the story, because if people feel like they don't know you, it's going to be very hard for you to pivot.
I think a lot of artists nowadays are driven by their personality. There's a lot of people who make music, but they're not even famous for their music. They're famous for their antics. They're famous for their personality and stuff. Like Blueface and Krishan Rock. When's the last time you listened to a Blueface song? You know what I'm saying? But he's been relevant for like 7 years. Just because he beats on his girl. Whoa. You know what I'm saying? Crazy work.
Along with the song Munch Climbing, her name being in the spotlight, and people now having a sense of who she was, things were going fairly well for Ice Spice, especially considering the fact that she only had a handful of songs out, Munch being the only one people recognized. Ice Spice, before she went on Kai Cenat's stream, also did a performance at Rolling Loud, which was heavily in the focal point during her blow-up. You can tell that she wasn't prepared for this moment. And on top of the narrative regarding her being an average rapper becoming stronger, people are now criticizing her stage presence, which is a critical aspect of being an artist. However, for Ice Spice, since she was such a new act who had rose to prominence so quickly, people eventually gave her a break. Later on, Ice Spice dropped 2 singles ahead of her EP. The first one being Bikini Bottom.
Yeah, the SpongeBob one.
The song had a somewhat catchy vibe to it. However, the very gimmick that people were drawn to was eventually the same thing that made people lose interest in it. One of the reasons why her breakout song Munch ended up catching virality was because of the line, "You thought I was feeling you." That ninja Munch. She somehow managed to capture
Why'd you say ninja, bro? You're black. Say nigga.
that same exact essence on Bikini Bottom. The line, "How can I lose if I'm already chose," became a viral moment along with the song. At this point, she had 3 records out that were catching heat, and while those were still bubbling, she was getting a lot of coverage, specifically within hip-hop media. The biggest impact of the coverage relating to how fast she came up. People were wondering, how did she even come up this fast? That was a good question because after all, at this point, she was only a few months into her career. Somehow, she's been getting all these cosigns from these big superstars out of nowhere, and her face is being plastered all over the place.
What's insane, Cruz, is that if you go down our road, across the street from the mall, there's a beauty salon. And it has a picture of Ice Spice in the window. Like next to the Food Lion and Family Dollar, there's a beauty salon right there. Has a whole picture of Ice Spice in the window, bro. She's literally being plastered everywhere.
A few months later, on January 6, 2023, she dropped the final single, In Her Mood, leading up to her EP, Like. The EP had not a lot of songs on it, 6 in total, minus the 3 she had already released. Despite that, the project ended up pushing 15,000 in first week sales, which wasn't bad for an artist who had blown up 5 months prior.
Yeah.
It also debuted at number 13 on the top rap albums chart and at number 30.
Ice Spice's album was at 13 on the top rap albums chart.
7 on the Billboard 200. The next few months after this is when she reached the peak of her career. Ice Spice linked up with UK artist Pink
Panthers. I love Pink Panthers, bro. That is probably the only celebrity I would probably willingly simp for. Pink Panthers. She's mine.
For the song Boy's a Liar 2. The song peaked at number 3 on the
You mean that boy's a liar?
Billboard Hot 100, which up until this point was the biggest moment of her career. Now that was until the
That boy's a liar.
Barbie soundtrack for the Barbie movie. Ice Spice, along with Nicki Minaj, was featured on the Barbie soundtrack. That was a very
she went on a generational run, bro.
big mainstream moment for her, which kept propelling her to the top. Shortly after that, a collaboration with Taylor Swift for the song Karma was announced. The record hit number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, so this was her second top 10 entry within the span.
She could be an industry plant. She literally bumped into somebody who basically came from the industry. Like, you know, like people like 4Bats and all that. Like, it's just their blow-ups are so fast that it's suspicious. You know what I'm saying?
And of a few months. At this point, Ice Spice,
because mind you, bro, this happened in the span of like less than a year. Like a year or some change at most. All of this took place in the span of a year and some change.
built up a significant amount of leverage in the music industry, and this was less than 1 year into her blow up. She got co-signed
less than a year, bro,
and by some of the biggest stars in music, performed alongside them, jumped on songs with them, and built up a very big social media platform through the millions of dollars of marketing that was dumped into her brand. But it was at this point that things eventually started to take a turn for the worse. A turn that eventually took her from almost 40 million monthly listeners to 15 in this.
Dang, I didn't know she dropped off that bad.
Span of a single year. Ice Spice started teasing a song called Fart, which was supposed to be the single to
what?
her next project, Y2K. After the snippet went viral on TikTok and social media, she ended up releasing it on January 2024. The song initially debuted at number 37.
Oh. Bitch, you think of this shit? Nah, you ain't even the fart. Why? Hey, why Blackie just say she dropped a song called Fart?
However, the
Yeah,
week after
that's when
that,
it started
dropped
going
to
down.
52, then 93, and after 1 month and 22 days of its release, the song officially left Billboard Hot 100. Ice Spice at this point didn't have any records on the charts. As she continued releasing a few more singles up until the release of her Y2K debut album, Ice Spice hype had clearly died down at this point. Her music just wasn't performing as well, and
It died down so suddenly, bro.
the novelty factor of her brand was disappearing by the second. And then came her debut studio album, Y2K, the release that was supposed to be the most defining moment of her career. The album came out on July 26, 2024, with a mere length of only 10 songs and 23 minutes. The general public,
Dang, hold on, look at those features.
2024, with a mere
She had Travis Scott, Gunna, Central C. I know this one was Central C, like did pretty well.
length of only 10 songs and 23 minutes. The general public and her fans consider the album not good.
I feel like Ice Spice lacks the capacity and the ability to make a good record. Really, to me, on the surface, it reads more like a lack of effort than anything.
The album ended up doing 28,000 in first week sales, a number that would be considered not so bad for any other fairly new artist. However, considering how much the industry was pushing her,
Yeah.
the numbers were definitely underwhelming. Let's talk about some key reasons why this album underperformed. But most importantly of all, let's talk about why Ice Spice lost
Should we do an album reaction to Ice Spice's Y2K album?
relevancy. First of all, the album rollout didn't come across as authentic. One of the focal points of marketing this album had nothing to do with the music itself, but it did have everything to do with things outside of it, like her supposed relationship with UK rapper Central C.
I told you, bro, like literally like I said earlier, bro, most people were more concerned about what she was doing and who she was doing rather than her music. I didn't even know she had an album that was dropping. Yeah, of course, of course, bro. I gotta listen to the Childish Gambino first before I listen to Poopy, Poopy.com, Poopy the album. Nah, like people were more concerned about Ice Spice's like antics and personality more than her album. I didn't know she was dropping an album until like a week before it dropped. Like real talk.
After coincidentally being spotted together in public around the same time she was ready to drop her album, it appeared as if they were allegedly dating, and they both kept the rumors alive and played into it. Come to find out, it was nothing but a ploy for a collab they were about to drop. The song was titled Did It First, and the entire concept of this particular song was cheating. The release of the song sparked a triangle cheating scandal between Ice Spice, Central C, and another famous social media star whose name is Madeline. She dated Central C in the past.
Madeline?
And sometime after the song had dropped, Ice Spice stated that they were strictly friends. This is when we get into...
See, okay, now this is unknown territory for me because I didn't care enough to really deep dive into it. I don't know who Madeline is. I don't care about Central C's exes. Yet she could have been a big streamer, to be honest. Like, people were obsessed with her. Like, for real. And then the Ozempic, those rumors started flying around. Oh my god.
to the topic of gimmicks. The definition of the word is as follows: something that is not serious or of real value that is used to attract people's attention or interest temporarily, especially to make them buy something. A strategy we've seen a lot of rappers in the game use with the help of the corporations, i.e. the record labels, and it usually ends up in the artist becoming a has-been. The psychology behind
6ix9ine looks so weird with a beard, bro, and I hate that his beard looks a little bit like mine. Stop.
and why that happens, people simply become more attached to the temporary high of uncovering what the gimmick actually is rather than getting emotionally invested in the artist. For Ice Spice, her brand has always been very superficial. One of the biggest reasons why she even blew up in the first place was, you guessed it, due to pretty privilege, a social phenomenon which acknowledges the societal advantage a person has by fitting into the beauty standards of their culture. Ice Spice is, after all, a racially ambiguous, attractive woman who's, most importantly of all, light-skinned. Colorism is...
You don't... Bro, colorism is so rampant. Like, once you notice it, you can't unnotice it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's crazy, bro. It's a whole thing in the black community. Colorism is outrageous. Dark skins get do so dirty. Like, you remember in the Kai Cenat stream, Like, everybody was focused on Ice Spice, but she had a dark-skinned girl next to her. Nobody was concerned about that girl at all. You know what I'm saying?
Is a huge factor that plays a critical part in the success of any female rapper. This is the same thing Cardi B benefited from. Being racially ambiguous simply makes you appear as more relatable to a bigger demographic of people. She had all those things playing towards her advantage, on top of having the nepotism aspect on her side. Ice Spice had every advantage in the book, which you can't fault her for capitalizing on, but it does explain why.
Yeah, you can't. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna ever be mad at somebody for taking advantage of an opportunity. Like, I'm not gonna be mad at that. I'm gonna be mad at the fact that you got that opportunity and not me, but I'm not gonna be mad at you for taking advantage of it.
The general public views her as an attractive girl who one day decided to pick up a microphone and somehow surpassed the women in the industry who've been working at their craft for decades just to get ignored.
That is crazy.
The music industry is clearly not about talent. Ice Spice is a representation of that fact. She leveraged her looks in order to put herself in an elevated position, a position that's gonna be hard to maintain for the long haul. The core of what Ice Spice sells is sexuality and promiscuity, something that she knows and all the people backing her up also know. This is not a secret when it comes to her. At every single moment possible, she's either seen twerking or sticking out her tongue in a salacious way, which does constantly feed into her brand. This is what keeps her popular, because as a female rapper in this generation, unless you're selling the idea of sex, it's going to be hard for you to even get your foot in the door. Part of selling this brand-wise is connected to children, specifically little girls. If you pay close attention to the visual aspect of her brand, bright colors like pink speaks to that younger audience, something that's been an integral part of marketing her to that big demographic of young girls. On top of the visual aspect, we also have the personality aspect. Ice Spice appears as a very likable person. That was, of course, up until the recent story involving her friend Cleo.
Yeah, that's the girl from the thingy, from the stream. nobody. Okay.
Trappa, which we'll talk about in just a minute.
You said Cleo Trappa?
Up until the recent story involving her friend Cleo Trappa, which we'll talk about in just a minute. An aspect a lot of people overlook. Coming across as being likable can get you where you want to go. Whether
this dude's hair is pissing me off, bro. What is this?
An aspect a lot of people overlook.
What is this, my brother? What is this? What is this, bro? This man put like a brisk pad on top of his head, bro. Come on, man.
Look, coming across as being likable can get you where you want to go. Whether it's attracting the right opportunities for your business, cultivating relationships of all kinds, or having certain unique experiences in life. It's one of the most effective ways to network with others. People like being surrounded by others who exude a sense of warmth and friendliness. This is directly correlated to persuasiveness, which is the quality of making people do what you want or believe in what you believe. On a personality level, Ice Spice does project an easygoing kind of vibe. Whether or not it's real, that's not the point, nor is it relevant. She's managed to convince millions of people all around the world that she is who she supposedly says she is. So on top of what we spoke on, she also has a very strong identity, which is one of the key factors to reaching a high level in any industry. It communicates a very strong message to anyone who's brought into your world, and Ice Spice has created a world for herself. However, considering all the leverage she's built up in the industry throughout her short time in it, it is inevitable to say that Ice Spice has been on a losing streak, something that's not only affecting how the general public views her, but it's also going to affect the marketing budget her record label allocates to her career.
I feel really bad for her, low-key. Like, I mean, you know how the saying goes, like, you fall just as quickly as you blow up. Like, it was bound to happen eventually. Like, eventually people were going to get tired of it. The thing about it is that you got to switch it up. If you don't switch it up and you keep doing the same thing, the minute it gets stale, that's when your whole career falls. The minute that people lose interest, they have nothing else to sink their teeth into. Like, Ice Spice definitely should have switched it up, bro. I didn't even realize about her marketing to the kids. Like, that's crazy, but it makes a lot of sense.
Aside from that, her public persona has also been taking a very strong hit. Of course.
Yeah, people have been saying that she's actually a mean girl. I don't know the stories, but all I know is that now people on Twitter and stuff are saying that Ice Spice is just a whole mean girl because of the way she did her friend. I don't even know how she did. I don't even know what she did.
Of course, I'm gonna talk about this story. I'm sure you might have heard the current viral situation she's found herself in. Ice Spice's former friend and rapper, Cleo Chappa, recently came out and exposed Ice Spice for being a mean person behind the scenes. This is the second person who's been close to Ice Spice that's came out exposing her in the recent months.
The second person?
In one of the stories she told, Cleo Chappa talked about the mistreatment she faced from Ice Spice on tour.
I want my fans to come out like she didn't really try to like mesh me in with her actual fan base or try to like put her fan base onto me.
Ice Spice ended up responding to her.
Okay, I'm listening to what she's saying, but why are her lips moving like that?
Out exposing her in the recent
look
months. In one of the stories she told, Cleo Chappa talked about the mistreatment she faced from Ice Spice on tour.
I want my fans to come out like she didn't really try to like mesh me in with her.
Like, why are her lips moving like that? That's like throwing me off. She's like, I heard like, why's she doing that?
Tour.
I want my fans to come out like she didn't really try to like
she ain't really trying to like, why are you talking with your lips like that?
Mesh me in with her actual fan base or try to like put her fan base onto me.
It might be the angle of the camera, bro.
Spice ended up responding to her friend by calling her a vacuum because she ate so much food at an Italian restaurant they went to during tour.
You not gonna tell the people how we was at an Italian restaurant and you ate so much fucking food?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was being a little mean.
Food, you fucking vacuum.
That's what? Oh my goodness.
How we was at a
This dude right here is pissing me off. I don't know why.
Italian restaurant and you ate so much fucking food, you fucking vacuum.
That's crazy. Why would you respond like that? Your friend just came out and said, yeah, she's really a whole like mean girl behind the scenes. And your response is, you're fat. What?
That the server was like, where did the
Cruz, whenever I blow up, if you ever try to expose me, bro, that's what I'm gonna just say. I'm gonna just be like, Cruz, you're a vacuum. You're fat. You're stinky.
food go?
In other words, Ice Spice was a big fat meanie. According to Cleo Chappa,
those sound effects are crazy, bro. They be killing me every time.
was a fake friend, and she treated her like a second-class citizen, from having her carry her own bags to not being allotted a separate dressing space while they were touring, to Ice Spice team saying that there wasn't a budget in place when her friend asked them to buy her some food, a chicken salad. Cleo
What?
Chappa after this was convinced that Ice didn't like her, and as a matter of fact, she hated her friend. After the embarrassment she faced behind the scenes, she decided to uncover the real side of Ice Spice. Now, this is definitely connected to the fall off or loss of relevancy of Ice Spice, if you will, because just a few months ago, one of her former friends, another one of her former friends, actually came out with a similar type of story. Her name is Baby Stormy, and
What the hell?
Actually came out with a similar type of story. Her name is
Baby Stormy. Are those jewels hanging from her eyebrow? Yo. And then the piercings in the cheek. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. This is fire. This is fire. This is fire. I hate this. Why they had... I don't know why he put Dr. Umar up there. I hate this piercing so much, bro. Like, it just... I don't know, bro. It just looks unnecessary.
Stormy. And personally, I don't know if I would consider her as very credible due to the nature of that particular expose. However, that aside, her reputation has definitely taken a hit. And this is related to something I spoke about, just a minute ago, which is her public persona. Because part of the reason why Ice Spice managed to be so successful is due to how she's appeared to the world. Mm-hmm. A young, beautiful, but very sweet woman, well-mannered, aside from when she's, shaking her ass, which is like never. Ice Spice has benefited from what we call the halo effect, a cognitive bias where the overall impression of a person influences.
Yeah. A lot of people assume that Ice Spice was like mild mannered and really, really like calm, quiet and stuff.
This is how other people feel and think about a person's specific traits. So for Ice Spice, she has the visual package, which
why does he have the head scratcher sitting on this? Low key, I want to try that.
Which is the assets, i.e., very nice body and good facial features and a nice smile. She simply looks better than 99% of the women on Earth, based on societal standards, of course.
Okay, I was about to say, all right, hold on there. Whoa.
Because beauty is highly subjective, and depending on what culture you're in, your level of attractiveness will vary. Now, this is what they call the halo effect. It's considered the physical attractiveness stereotype, in which what looks beautiful is seen as good. I mean, there's even studies on this. Attractive people in society are...
See, I never really understood that. Like, usually when I see somebody who's like really attractive, low key, I kind of just assume that they're kind of a dickhead. Like, like, I don't know. I have the opposite effect. Like, if I see somebody who's really, really like handsome or really good looking, I immediately think they're probably like an asshole, like behind the scenes. Like, that's what I think, at least. So I don't know.
Are perceived to be smarter, funnier, and more likable than less attractive people. From personal experience, I can tell you that some of the most demonic people I've met have been some of the most good-looking people on the outside. I'm sure you can relate to that. Ice Spice falls under this category.
Okay.
And that's why this recent story involving her friend coming out like this is just so damaging to her career. To be fair, her looking good is one of the only things that propelled her to this level. Let's just keep it real, right? This is like the nail in the coffin effect, where one needle is moving the mountain in a whole nother direction. All those good qualities people automatically projected on her are slowly dissipating in the minds of the public. Ice Spice's entire image was built on not only sexuality, but being what women call a girl's girl. Now, what exactly is that to all the men who don't know what the hell that is? Because I just found out what it is. This is a term that's used to describe a woman who celebrates her fellow women, doesn't let jealousy get in the way of doing so, and she's honest and encouraging to her fellow.
Real talk. Women slang, the slang that girls be coming up with, it be hitting. I don't care. It be hitting, bro. Girl. The only thing I hate right now is the demure stuff. Like that gets on my nerves. But it is a fun word to say. Demure. But the girl, like, oh, I'm just a blank girly, like all that. Like, I ain't gonna lie. I'm a like guys have a slang. It's like, bruh. It's like, bro. Like like we'll say, bro really thought that he was him. Like that's guy slang. And then girl slang is like, I'm just a girl's girl, or I'm an indoor girly, like all that. And low key, I kind of like it.
Women as well. Ice Spice has now lost that entire aspect of her brand due to this controversy. Also, Ice Spice just doesn't have the same type of freshness to her name anymore. People feel like they've experienced...
Definitely not fresh, especially with all them poop bars, bro. Especially with all those poop bars.
It's all that they can from her. Her music has clearly taken a back seat as far as the conversations in relation to her name, especially with this particular story right here. And also, to be fair, she hasn't done herself a favor by putting sex at the forefront 24/7. Unfortunately, the majority of female rappers do that, but the ones that end up sticking are the talented ones, okay? The ones who show the world that they have more to offer than just their body. I'm talking about Snow the Product. I'm talking about Bia. I'm talking about Doechii. I'm talking about Flo Milli. These are women who put their creativity at the forefront of everything they do. Now, as for Ice Spice, her body is more popular than her music. And it's always been like that, whether it's the millions of young girls following her because they want to be like her, or whether it's the thirsty basement-dwelling teenage boys who get turned on when they see her fat ass. Her name is fueled by her willingness to lean on sex, and once the shape she got introduced to the game with starts to change, since she...
That's what I said earlier, bro. See, this is why I like Blackie. Like he be saying what I be thinking, but he says it way more elegantly. Like literally, like everything combined. The Central C stuff, the being exposed as a mean girl, the the rapping, the people recognizing that her rapping isn't really all that good, and then she starts to slim down. Like, I'm not
Lost
crazy.
a bunch of weight, and people have accused her of using Ozempic for her weight loss journey. Now that she's looking so different, what are they actually supporting? I mean, people were already not attached to her music, and leaning too much on your looks, whether you're a man or a woman, in any facet of life, is something that's very fleeting. As human beings, we can't run away from the inevitable process of aging, and that's why you gotta make sure people fall in love with who you are on an intrinsic level and not what you are. Leaning on the physical stuff gots to go, okay? Finito. Unfortunately for Ice Spice, since a big part of her popularity was fed by her good looks, that is her gimmick, and she has to maintain it, or else she'll fade away. To each in his own, but one thing's for sure, people have lost interest in Ice Spice. Do I think she's fallen off? Well, she's clearly not as hot as she used to be. She's of course very young and has built an extremely lucrative brand for herself, so even if the music doesn't pan out the way she wants it to, I'm sure she'll be able to monetize her name by working with big brands and cashing in on the sponsorship money. And this is an aspect of the music industry people seem to miss, okay? And this is very relevant to Ice Spice. A lot of these so-called artists that are popping up now are nothing but glorified social media influencers who happen to know how to sing into a microphone or rap into a microphone.
That's literally what I said earlier, bro. People are more worried about the online antics, the personality, what they get up to, more than the actual music, more than what they actually create. Like, you're more of a personality than you are a musician, bro. This Blackie be spitting.
The goal for the music industry wasn't for Ice Spice's career to have longevity. The goal was to build her brand up to a level where it's lucrative enough. And in that situation, she won't be dependent on her album selling for her existence to make sense.
They were trying to low-key build her up to become more of an influencer than a musician, bro. That makes a lot of sense. I agree.
Make sense. But that's why Ice Spice is losing relevancy. I'm sure she still has a couple solid years in the mainstream world of music left. However, the numbers prove that she's on a downward trajectory.
Yeah.
Anyway, you made it this far, which means I'm sure you enjoyed the video, so do...
Yep, shout out Blackie Speaks, bro. Shout out Blackie. Yeah, like, literally, dude, it's like, if she don't, she gotta change it up, because nobody is gonna care. Like, as you can see, if her music isn't like gimmicky, isn't a TikTok hit, then nobody's really gonna care about it. TikTok fame does not equal actual genuine fame. If she don't switch it up, she just will fall off. Like, she'll fade out eventually. Can confirm, my friend who is down bad for her has never mentioned a song. Like, that's crazy. If I was a rapper who's been working on my craft for years and actually loved and cared about the music, and then see Annie blown up for nothing, I'd be so pissed. Annie is crazy. But yeah, man, shout out to Blackie Speaks. Good video. Yeah, Ice Spice just gotta switch it up, bro.